Hello and welcome to Studio One ahead of a big Champions League week for Manchester City tomorrow night. Of course, the last 16, second leg at the Etihad Stadium against Real Madrid. Very shortly, we're going to be hearing from the manager, Pep Guardiola, and the club captain, Bernardo Silva as well. A little bit later on, we'll hear from fans and get their reaction to the press conferences too, and stay with us for that. But also joining me is the man who'd probably love to be out on the pitch alongside Erling Haaland tomorrow night, former Manchester City striker, Shaun Goater. Shaun, great to have you with us. Look, City have had special nights at the Etihad against Real Madrid before. We cast our mind back to 4-0 from 3 years ago and reaching the final in Istanbul. Do you believe it could happen again?
It definitely can. I mean, we have the players that are capable of it. We have the manager that's capable of it. We certainly can go and do it, without a doubt.
The press will gather in the hub in a minute, ready to hear from Pep and Bernardo Silva. What kind of language do you want to hear from the manager and from the captain as well? Is it a rallying call? Is it a little bit of realism? What do you want?
I think it'd be realism, and the realism will also probably touch on that we've been able to beat this team when it mattered a few years ago. What was it, 23, I think it was. So he'll give that realism, but I think he will stoke the players and build them up with this belief that, yes, we can do this. And the players will also internally want to show up for this game because, again, we've got World Cup winners, we've got Ballon d'Or winners, we've got all of this in our locker room, international players. They are looking forward to this game.
Interesting. I think Pep said before the West Ham game, didn't he? He was asked about the 3-0 deficit and basically said, if you're not up for the Champions League as a player, if you're not up to overcome this 3-0 first leg deficit, go home. Don't need you here. And we know this squad is more than capable of producing big results, big moments, key games, key 90 minutes. That they've shown it before. Well,
exactly. I mean, again, international players that play at the highest stage, they know what it's about. They know the standard that is set by Pep and obviously the players. If you're not up for a game like this, you'll never be up for it. You really won't.
I think what's really interesting today, what we'll hear is that Bernardo Silva's speaking. Bernardo was so key 3 years ago in that 4-0 win at the Etihad that put Manchester City into the Champions League final. So he's lived it, he's breathed it. Now he's captain. Does a captain relay that perhaps to some of the newer members of the squad that have come in over the last 3 years and say, look, this is how we did it 3 years ago. This is what they like. This is what they don't like as a team, Real Madrid. Let's get stuck into them.
I think it's a brilliant question because I think it depends on the individual. Let's say someone like Semenyo has come in, a player that was at Bournemouth, would not have I've had this sort of experience in the big game. I think he would be a player that either reaches out or he'll be confident within himself, like, I'm now at the stage where I belong, and perhaps doesn't ask questions about it. My guess is that he strikes me as a humble person and will probably ask players, like, what was it like? What was that experience like? How was it? And that's where he'll get that information. He'll get that feeling, whether it's on the coach days before, training before, to get a real feeling of what it was like. But the players will definitely be sharing it because if players are there willing to ask, then they'll definitely share it. But I imagine he'd be asking.
And if you're Bernardo Silva, then what are you saying to, for example, if it is Semenyo, it could be Mark Gay, it could be anyone who's come in the last 3 years who wasn't there on that special night at the Etihad. What are you saying that can actually be implemented in a game? Because also it's a different Real Madrid outfit than the one that was there 3 years ago.
I think he'll say, one, is go out there and enjoy it because it'll fly by. Be yourself. You're here because you're quality. You've come and shared the quality. Someone like the two of them have come in and shared real good quality. So come in, show your quality. You belong at this stage. There'll be a time when we will have a bit of adversity. Maybe they got a bit. We're pulled to go back and they've steadied it a bit. But we've got to get through that period and then go again. So I think he'll tell them about all of the nuances, certainly if they're prepared to ask.
Talking of adversity, obviously the scoreline is the biggest adversity Manchester City have for this leg. 3-0 down. It was the Fede Valverde show, getting that hat-trick. We know he doesn't score that many goals. I think he doubled his entire season's goal tally in that one game. So it's unlikely that it'll be Fede Valverde's game again. From last week, what does City have to do differently as we watch the goals back here? Does City have to do anything different? Because this is unlikely to happen again.
Yeah, a game at this level is about fine margins. There we just see Nico's made a decision to go. I think he would also think if he's in that position again where he's going to cross to the wide player, that I either go knowing I get it, or once he knows that he can get it, to just delay, and then Valverde has to beat him. But because he's made that decision, he runs in a position where he can't touch him. And these are little fine details that make a difference, as in it not perhaps resulting in a goal. I think his second one was probably a very good goal because, again, how he sort of flicks the ball up. Well, the pass, first of all, was a quality pass, and then he's just lobbed it, I think, over Gay's head. And it was a really good finish. But this is what you'll get. And this is where, again, he will say to someone like Semenyo at Gay, listen, we can't get their quality. They're going to at times produce quality. But we're a City, and we can overturn this result, certainly.
I said about Fede Valverde not scoring many. He did actually score at the weekend as well. So maybe he's found his goal-scoring boots at the wrong time. City, is it one of those nights tomorrow where maybe not City have to take their chances? I expect them to create several of them, but more importantly, it's scoring first tomorrow night. If you get that early goal, maybe, then you're setting Real Madrid back.
Yeah, and I think it's as fans watching the game who are not involved within it as a coach, etc. I think fans will be like, we need to score in the first 10 minutes. I don't think it is actually that. I think it's a case of the first 20 minutes, even 25 minutes is. Yes, it'd be great if we're gotten a goal then. I think it's important to have scored a goal in the first half because I don't know off the top of my head what's the quickest period that we have scored 3 goals or 4 goals for that matter. But this team is certainly capable of that. We're seeing periods where this team will go and score 2 and 3 goals, and you think, where has this come from? It's come out of nowhere, and we have that capability. So for me, it doesn't mean we need to be within 1 goal in the first half. I think it's just important that perhaps we can have a goal in the first half and be winning at 1-0, and then we can look at the second half.
Let's hear from the Manchester City manager. Here's Pep Guardiola.
Questions from English media first, followed by any questions from Spanish media. Someone start, please. Simon?
If you could pull this off tomorrow, where would that rank in all the achievements that you've had as a manager?
No idea. It's just last 16, and no idea. I don't know. It's a football game. Many things can happen. And you have to focus and try to first win the game, and after we see what happens during the game. So I don't have a specific plan, a part of the just try it.
Do you have to transmit your belief that the team can turn it round? Because it's a big ask.
Well, after 10 years, you have to convince my players about the beliefs. We are in problem. They know me quite well that every single game we try, there will be no exception. They have to. So they are the guys who play, and I'm pretty sure they will try it. And I know more of them. Of course, most of them, they are new, they've experienced in that situations, and we are not the same group that many years, but at the same time, it's an incredible experience and an incredible opportunity to try it.
Hi, Pep. Can you take us into the decision of giving the players a day off today?
We train tomorrow.
Before the game?
Yeah.
Okay. And you say many times this is mental. Also, it's not just football. There's also a mental part involved. How much is this move a mental part, a mental way of recharge your players and get them ready for
It's related. The way you play, as much you play good, your mental will be strong, and you are not good, will be weaker. So it's more than 90 minutes. We are able. I'm not much concerned about the chances that we're going to create. I'm pretty sure we are able to do it at home. Always we are able to do it. It's more how well we are going to defend. Now I have to admit, the task is massive. So score more than 3 goals against Madrid is not easy. The result in the first leg is not the perfect one. But at the same time, we are here. It's a football game. Everything can happen, and our momentum is always the Etihad Stadium are there. We have to create as much momentum as possible with our people, and do a good game for the talent players that we have, and defend well.
Pep, you said the task is massive. Does it have to be a perfect performance, would you say?
Yeah, definitely.
And from a manager's point of view, are you thinking of a way of trying to surprise Real Madrid somehow?
No. It's about the players, put it in the perfect positions. We play with 4 or 5 strikers in the first leg. We didn't score a goal. So sometimes you play with 2 false nines and something like that. You're going to score 5 goals. So you never know. The idea is there. We have to try it, and not much different things that we have done at home, and just when we arrive there to try to score and defend better the positions, and perfect game in many senses. And in the bad moments, it happened. It will be a perfect game during 93, 94 minutes. So it's just to try, don't give up, and next one, and always we can create in a certain short minutes chances. So we know with that. We know because we know each other. We happened the season just we create that, and we're not finishing. And if we are able to be clinical there, and especially defend well, always will be in the game.
Hi, Pep. Obviously, you would never choose to be in this position, but some of the most memorable Champions League games have come from teams coming back from a first leg deficit. Barcelona and PSG is one example. You said before it's just a place in the quarterfinals on offer, but for the fans who go tomorrow, if they were to see you pull off, it's something they would probably never ever forget.
We have seen, for example, in many games here. I remember against Tottenham or against Madrid 2 times, we scored 4 goals or 4 goals. The problem is not about the goals. Against Tottenham, we scored 4 goals or 5, I don't know, and they scored 3 or 4, and Madrid scored the first year 3 goals. So the problem is not about that we are able to do it. We are able to create chances here, even in a short time in the last games, in 10-15 minutes. We are able to be there many times. So have to create as much as possible, knowing that, of course, the quality of them is completely different than the other opponents, and they don't give the ball away. They are able to run, but they know it's Real Madrid. So, but Real Madrid would happen in other teams in the Champions League. The quality is there. So it's easy for me, guys. The first 20 minutes you have to score 3 goals. Yeah, perfect, good message. But the reality is completely different. It's just to be sustainable in our approach, in our how to have to do it, and in all departments that we are working tomorrow or talk tomorrow about what we have to do until the end. And we know it's not able because the first result in the first leg was not the best one. So it's difficult sometimes, because we create the first 20 minutes 4 or 5 times in byline for Bernardo was alone in the 6-yard box, and 2-3 crosses, cutbacks that we didn't arrive, and 3 shoots on target, 3 goals. So that is the Champions League. That's why it's so difficult. And the opponents, that's really good. We have to live with that. Of course, we have to take more risk in terms of trying, but even the results is not good in the first half. We have to keep going, carry on, go, and because you never know. You never know.
Hi, Pep. I mean, in your personal history, you've had some games and some ties where you've come from behind. I mean, do you have a favourite comeback, a comeback that you always remember?
Aston Villa, last game, to win the Premier League. 74 minutes, 0-2. They make 3 goals in 12 minutes. So, another comebacks. We did incredible things in this competition, scoring goals, but concede for goal difference. We are out for many details, for the decisions, for the referees, for many reasons. Sometimes you are out. So, it has to be a perfect game in many departments. In our people and the referee decisions, for many things have to be so good to make these kind of things. But it's nice an experience to live again. Always I have good memories in the defeat, so always one of the more exciting moments when the Tottenham games. On the other one we were out, but what a game, what a moment. It's painful, it's hard, but always remind now in my pockets. Not always remain the good things in your life. The bad things always apart, and good games and good experience. How to create a good game with our people. Hopefully they can make an extra bonus, and yeah, try.
Pep, about the training. Did you feel that today was more important to rest
the bodies or the minds?
Listen, we were in Madrid. We arrived late in the hotel. We stuff to sleep and come back in the morning. Travel here. Day after here, no training. Go to London. Arrived yesterday at 2:30 a.m. So today you recover. Today you cannot do anything because the players who play, they are still, at home, and tomorrow we will train. So we are not have to train something like a repetition for the training will make us to play better the game against Madrid, because today in the modern football, in the top teams, the train don't much improve a lot. It's understand what you have to do because we don't have time to train. So I prefer today every home, and for me as well, and tomorrow instead to arrive at 3 or 4, we arrive at 2. We move a little bit our legs on the pitch. We're going to try to do this and go. I did it 2 or 3 times this season, so it's not the first time.
Hi, Pep. You did it before the Dortmund game in November.
The Fulham game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've hit 2 or 3 times this season. So when it's 3 days different, sometimes I train, sometimes I said, stay at home. 11 months, we will make a World Cup season, 2 weeks World Cup, 2 weeks to start the season. So we know each other quite well. So we talk now. Now we practice many things. You had to practice to improve because it's too late.
And how beneficial was that to give them that extra time?
I don't know. We try to put our best, but I don't know.
Simon?
Pep, you've spoken a lot about the need to defend very well in this game and be perfect. How has the defence been over the last few weeks, and what improvements are needed in it?
Well, if you play the game against West Ham, if you made a shoot on target in corner and don't more, that will defend well. Really well. So in terms of the people say, I have to make goals, no. We have to move more if we concede. So let's try to avoid that is not easy because the quality of Madrid always is there, but try to, the situations that will be there in the 1-against-1, the keepers, defenders and everyone, the solidarity to work behind. Because with the ball, maybe I'm wrong, maybe we play when we are not able to do it, but from experience in the Champions League or in that position, but we need to do it, always we are able to create chances, always, in every single game. Instead to do it maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes, do it in as much longer time as possible.
Jack?
Given that you did defend well on Saturday and didn't give up any chances, does that give you a little bit of a selection headache for tomorrow? Because obviously Diaz didn't play Saturday, but you did defend really well, and Kusanov against Vinicius might be really important.
The selection I have already done, more or less, yeah. I know the team is going to start tomorrow. I don't have any doubts. Well, one doubt maybe, but the rest is clear.
And have you seen apart from last week at the Bernabeu, have you seen an improvement in the stability of the team over the course of the season?
Yeah, much. Our average. It was a moment, for Silva goes in Fulham in the second half, a crazy game, and 6 target Madrid 3 times, 3 goals. And sometimes that, but in general, I'm satisfied for many things. Our high pressing is good. The expecting goals is higher in the Premier League alongside Chelsea. So always have been there. It's just what I said after the game against West Ham, but I had opinion for many months. So just miss. The chances to create, most of them convert. That it was what they had to try to do. It is this amount of chances create much more amount. Create more opportunities and just put the ball in the net. So I have to try to do it.
Take some questions in Spanish. We're starting here, please. Thank you.
Hola,
Hi, Pep.
¿Qué tal? Soy Adrián,
How are you?
periodista del Desmarque. El otro día comentabas que
The other day you were speaking about you've faced Real Madrid 50 times as a manager, as a player too. Is what you're missing is an epic comeback in the Champions League, 3-0 down? Do you visualise that? How do you prepare yourself for this mentally? We'll give it a go. But I'm not missing anything from the games that I've faced Real Madrid. I'm very satisfied. The experiences I had as a player to play against Real Madrid 50 times, it's not bad. I've not got a bad record as a player or a manager. I'll just be doing it for my team that I represent now. During a decade, we've managed to do some incredible things, but that won't change. what I've experienced as a player and how a manager. The meetings we've had, that won't change anything in the game tomorrow. You spoke about the rest that you've given to your players. Why did you do that? Is it superstition? Because we saw you did that against Dortmund and it worked out well. I'll find out tomorrow. We'll train tomorrow. We'll train tomorrow instead of training today. It's very simple. Now, today we would have trained on the same things as we will tomorrow. Maybe 1% difference. So 3 days difference. We've had 2 long trips. We went to London as well. It's a long trip. You have to go by a train or plane. We came back from West Ham. We're not going to be doing anything. They'll be at home, the players, with their families today. And then they'll send each other WhatsApp messages, I'm sure, or imagine. And tomorrow we'll see each other. And we'll train a little bit, and then we'll play the game. Pep, wanted to ask you, because you were talking about scoring goals, you've done that in many other games, but I wanted to ask you about your defence. Kylian Mbappe will be playing, or he's definitely travelled. Does that change the way that you plan the game tomorrow? Can we see perhaps a surprise from you? No, we'll see after 5 minutes. If Mbappe is back, it's better for them. We'll see if he plays or not. I don't know.
Buenas, Pep.
Hi, Pep.
Fernando Ruiz para el diario AS. Yo te quería preguntar si
I wanted to ask you about a special message that you will give to your team, talking about coming back, or do you feel like it's just another game? Will you give them a special message? No, there's not really much more left to say. It's like a final. It's a perfect game to turn round. There's very few messages now. We're all older adults. I do feel, not because of what I've spoken to them about or when I saw them a little bit yesterday, I know that we're going to give it a go. Whether we can achieve it, I have no idea.
Hola Pep, ¿qué tal?
Hi, Pep.
Del Río del diario Marca. Has hablado antes que las cosas malas también forman parte de esto.
Bad things form part of your experiences, your history. Can you talk to me about the culture, failure culture? There's possibly a chance that you will be out again early in the Champions League. Do you feel that failure in sports, how do you manage that frustration with the team? The important thing is that you don't believe that it's a failure. So we have to convince ourselves the strength, the commitment you put in to what you dedicate your life to. In sports, you can do things well, the other team can be better than you accept it, and you just try and get better, and then try it the following season. For many wonderful adjectives you can use, you don't have to feel that it's like that. It comes from hard work, dedication, and you have to love your sport, respect your fans, your people. There's no team in the world that wins always, and there's no perfect performances in football either. There are occasions when you can be extraordinarily fantastic, and that's happened during many times over the last few years, and we've had some wonderful ties against you guys, and many times we've gone out. Is it a failure? You decide that. You think it's unfair to talk about failure in sport. It's not important about what I feel about it. It's whether you feel. What do you feel? I've always responded. I've already answered you. Those things don't change. How do you manage it with the squad? The squad, you say, what a shame we're not in the Champions League, and we try to get back into it. All big athletes in sport have not always won all the time. It doesn't exist. You lose more than you win in sports. You can qualify it as a really huge disappointment. How long will you spend thinking about it? 1 day? 3, 4? Things carry on. You just have to get on with it. There are much more sad things happening in the world to spend too much time on that. We'll try and do things well. We'll move on. Madrid were fantastic in many things, and if they are, we have to accept it. At this level, there are some great teams. How many Champions League have Real Madrid won? They've won 15. How many have they played in their history? 100? Well, they've lost more than they've won. Is that a failure? Perhaps they've played better in other campaigns than others. I've never seen a better team who plays football. Perhaps, you know, you ask me these things because I'm from Barca. Well, it's about Spanish football, playing well in Spanish football. Is it a failure if you don't win the Champions League every year? It depends on you. I would say that Bruto's team played well, for example.
So that was the Manchester City manager, Pep Guardiola. We'll hear from Bernardo Silva shortly, so stay with us for that. Former City striker Shaun Goater watching that press conference of Pep Guardiola alongside me here in the studio. What did you make of it, Shaun? Yeah, it was a lot of good things that I liked that Pep was speaking. And one of the things that I was hearing him say is it's not about the number of chances. We're going to be all right. We're going to create those chances, about us putting those chances away. So I think he's basically saying to the players, we're going to get chances. We put our chances away, and we'll be okay with that. He also backed that up with Real Madrid are a very good team. Yes, they will have the chances and their opportunities, but it's about us. It's about us also not conceding goals. And that's what I was also hearing. So I was hearing that us not really going out in the first 15 minutes, we've got to score 3 goals. It was exactly what I thought. No, we've got 90 minutes plus to be able to do that. So I really liked it because it was speaking to what I would want to hear as a player. Let's hear now from the Manchester City captain, Bernardo Silva, speaking to the media ahead of tomorrow's game with Real Madrid.
Questions from English media first, followed by questions from Spanish media. Someone start, please. Fred.
Hi, Bernardo. You didn't get a day off. You're here.
Me no. I was the only one that didn't get a day off. No.
As one of the leaders of the squad, maybe people from the outside will be shocked. Or before a Champions League match, the players are off. From the inside, how do you see that, and what's the importance of maybe resting the bodies and the minds?
We've done it in the past plenty of times. When we lost games, when we won games, when the manager felt that it was the best for the team. And with all the trips that we had this week, I think if he just thought that it would be best for us to sleep better, to stay at home one more day, to free a bit our minds, and come back tomorrow stronger and ready for the game.
Hi, Bernardo. Pep mentioned the game against Aston Villa a couple of years ago on the final day. You were obviously involved in that. Is that something you can sort of call upon, you know, in the dressing room before and tell the other guys about?
Well, this sport has taught us that a lot of things can happen in a football game, and even though the result in Madrid was really bad, we will fight. We will for sure fight until the end, knowing that it's going to be tough. The opponent is a very good one. The first result was not good. At home, a lot of things can happen, especially at home here at the Etihad, and we're going to try and create the right atmosphere for that to happen.
Bernardo, after the match last Wednesday, you all looked very kind of down, understandably. Mm-hmm. How do you sort of inject that belief back into the players that you can do this and you can create one of those memorable nights, as you say?
Well, it's never easy, especially when it's just a week. But usually after a big defeat, on the day you feel like everything is very dark. Then it gets brighter and brighter and brighter, and you arrive the day before the game. And the atmosphere, even though this week was a really bad one for us, we know that what this team is capable of. The problem that we lacked this season was the consistency, because the level, we know that we can reach that level. The problem that we had was that we weren't able to maintain that level for the right amount of games. So if we are on it tomorrow, we know that it's possible.
You can obviously score the goals at any point in the game, Bernardo, but how important will scoring early be to get the team up and the crowd up if you are to pull this off?
It would be very important, obviously. The earlier the better. I would also say that no matter what, it can still happen, because I don't know who was it that spoke about the Aston Villa game, and we know that in football, and especially our team at home, we are capable of creating a lot of chances in a period of 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. Obviously, if we score earlier, it would be better. Knowing that, we also need to defend well, because we cannot concede a goal. Otherwise, if we concede, the tie is over. But we are going to obviously take some risks and try to go for it.
Bernardo, just in terms of not getting to the levels as consistently as you've done in the past, what is the reason for that? But obviously the team is evolving. There's been a lot of change over the last 18 months. Some of you have won a lot of trophies, others have not won any. What is the reason that you can't just keep getting to the levels over and over again?
I think the obvious answer is that this is a transition, because if you look not long ago, if you look at the Champions League final when we won the treble, if you look at that team and you look at the team now, maybe 4 or 5 players are left. In 2 years and a half, to only have 4 or 5 or 6 players left, it's a lot of change. So to have that many change in a football club is never easy, because it's not about the talent or the quality of the players. It's about the players getting to know each other better, knowing when they play together what works better, and obviously getting the experience and the knowledge to deal especially with the bad moments. As I said, I don't know the right answer. No one knows. You might have your opinion, the manager might have his opinion, I might have my own opinion. I do believe that having so many different players in such a short term doesn't help, because from my experience, I've been here 9 years. 3 years ago, when I played with Gundogan, with Kevin, with Rodri, or with Kyle, or because we played together so many years, we knew exactly what the other player wanted, and the qualities of the other guy, the guy next to you. Right now, these young guys, they need time to adapt, playing with each other, playing together, and I think that plays obviously a major part. No excuses, because we should have done much better in some moments this season, obviously, but I do think that plays a major part.
Hi, Bernard. Can I just ask you quickly, did you mean that goal on Saturday?
No. I wouldn't. I don't want to lie to you. No, I wanted to cross to Erling Haaland.
And I know that it didn't go well in Madrid last week, but it seemed to us like you were on the front foot for the first 30 minutes. You were the better team. You had a few chances. I think you had a chance from the edge of the box. Did you see enough in that first 30 minutes to suggest that Madrid are vulnerable enough to concede the goals that you will need to go through tomorrow?
I wouldn't call them vulnerable. They beat us 3-0, so that I wouldn't use that word right now. When I got home, I was really frustrated. I wanted to watch the game, and I know that this might look a bit stupid what I'm about to say, but when I watched back, I don't see a reason for us to be losing 3-0 that game at halftime, and the result was much worse than the performance, in my opinion. Obviously, in football, that counts 0. That counts for nothing. A lot of games that we were worse than our opponents and we also beat them, or we were much better and we didn't. Football is like that. But the reality is that the performance, especially the first half, because the second half, then the emotions, and you go on at halftime and everything looks like it's really bad when it's not that bad, and you lose a bit your mind. I know, as I said in the beginning, it might sound really stupid saying this. I don't think the performance was that bad.
Hi, Bernardo. Bernardo, just away from this game for a second, I'm sure you'll have seen it like we all have, the huddle that the Chelsea players did with the referee. I just wondered what you made of that as a fellow professional in the Premier League and a club captain.
I saw a picture. I don't know the context. I don't know if they were making a speech or something. I have no clue. It looked funny, but I don't know. I don't know what that was about. It's just fun, you know.
On a more serious note then, on the messaging that a club captain can give to his players, what will you be saying to your teammates ahead of this game?
For sure that what I said earlier, that if you believe that in this game the little details that make a lot of difference in football will go to our side, will be in our favor. If you look at the game in Madrid specifically, even with a terrible performance, for example, when the midfielder from Madrid tries to play out from the back and Nico Riley almost steals the ball and Courtois with the reflexes, it makes that save. Those little things, if that ball goes in, it's a 3-1, it's different. And we have to believe that tomorrow, when Erling has a chance, he will score that one, and the ball will not hit the post or the bar. And when they have a chance, because they will run, they have an unbelievable quality and players to run and to create chances. And when they have their chances, we have to believe that our defenders will block and our keeper will save. And tomorrow will have to be our day. With that kind of belief, maybe it's going to be possible, yeah.
But Bernardo, obviously last year you went out to Real Madrid, and I think most people would say you were far the better team at the Etihad. Obviously went out on penalties. You obviously
2 years ago, yeah.
The manager was talking about the need for a perfect performance, but is the reality tomorrow as well is that you need to be lucky as well, that you need a lot of luck on your side as well as the quality performance?
I don't want to. It's difficult for me to answer that question because I don't believe a lot in luck. So I believe a lot that the reason why throughout the years we didn't manage to be more successful in this competition, maybe a little bit of luck, but it's never just luck. It's the little details that you need to get better. And the Champions League is a competition. It's a different competition. In a league, the best team wins 95% of the time. In the Champions League, the best team not necessarily wins. It's a competition about emotions, how you deal with your emotions. The little details, mainly in the boxes. How do you defend the action? How do you block that shot? How do you score your chances? And that's not luck. You need to be there. You need to do well in those actions. I do believe that we need to do really well in those little details, and Madrid is a very strong team in that.
Bernardo, you were talking about you don't believe in luck. Looking back to the last game, or the game last week, in the first 20 minutes, obviously all those crosses come across the box and no one's put it in, and it was sort of similar at West Ham on Saturday in the second half. Like, what do you need to do as players to be able to have a little bit more cohesion in the final third? Does it go back to what you were saying about the transition and people haven't played with each other that much?
As I said, you talk about luck and the crosses. For the balls to go in, you need to make the right movement. You need to have a player that arrives on the near post. You need to have a player for a tap in on the far post, which we scored a lot of goals. The classic one from Kevin, ball across the goal, and someone, either Raheem Sterling or Erling or Leroy Sané or Aguero, always a small tap in at the far post. Those goals look easy, but you need to make that movement to score those goals. So if you look, we had 10 crosses, but if no one does that movement, there's no point. So it's not luck. It's us needing to get better, needing to know each other better, to improve. Because if you put a player on the near post, if you put one in the penalty spot and one in the attacking the far post for that tap in that I was saying, if you start putting more numbers in the box, if you start arriving with better movements, you will score those chances for sure.
Bernardo, hello. Just continuing that theme, Erling scored, I think, 4 times in these last 14 games, and 2 of those were penalties. Would you personally be shocked if Pep left him out tomorrow evening? And do you think the dressing room would be shocked at that decision if Pep decides to go a different way just for this game?
We wouldn't be shocked with anything, because it's not our job to judge the manager's decision. He gets paid a lot of money to make those decisions, and for us as players, our job is to be ready. And we have a big squad. Anyone is ready to play. Obviously, Erling is a massive player for us, a very important player for us. And in the big games, you need those players. But we have fantastic players everywhere, and no one is irreplaceable.
So psychologically, it wouldn't be a difficult thing to deal with, a blow, if you look around the dressing room and think, oh, wait a minute, Erling's not starting against Real Madrid when we need to basically score 4 goals?
I would obviously prefer to have Erling, because he's someone that, when you have Erling on the pitch, you're closer to scoring goals, and you need goals tomorrow. We've played throughout the years. We've played without Erling when he was injured, without Kevin when he was injured for a long time. We've dealt with those situations. The big players are there for the big moments, and we definitely need them. But look, Madrid, if that was an excuse, Madrid without Mbappé, Bellingham and Rodrigo, they beat us 3-0, so that cannot be an excuse.
Bernardo, bom dia. João Ventura, SBT Brasil, te hago en español. ¿Está de acuerdo que todo que necesita?
Do you agree with everything that Manchester need to have a Real Madrid-style night? And how do you feel that you can make that happen? It's not a Real Madrid night. I think we need to have a Manchester City night, because we've also had many of those where many people didn't believe in us and things have gone out very well. Madrid in this competition have had many memorable nights in the last, well, they've always done it, but particularly in the last few years. And what we want is to create an atmosphere of belief in the stadium with the pace of game that we want to inject into it, and as early as possible not to suffer attacks, to score a goal, because with 1 goal the atmosphere of the whole ground will change.
Hola, Bernardo. Aquí estoy.
Hi, Bernardo.
Para el desmarque de Mediaset. Hablabas antes de
you were talking about you don't believe in luck. Do you think if Kylian Mbappe is in the team, is that bad luck if he starts tomorrow? It's difficult to say that, because many people said that Madrid didn't have a chance without Rodrigo, Bellingham and Mbappe, and they beat us 3-0. What can I say? Maybe it's luck, maybe it's bad luck. We don't. What we need to focus on is our work. To be prepared, to be us, to be Manchester City. To be able to create an atmosphere that's favourable, so that all the players, all the people within the stadium believe that it's possible. It's going to be a difficult night, of course, but we're going to try and make it a joyous an occasion for us. And in terms of Real Madrid, we can't control anything that they do. Bernardo, you were speaking about those fine details. Do you think one of those fine details, in terms of your options of going through, would mean you have to score quickly? Do you feel that need to score early, to pressure them? Of course, it would help us. As quickly as possible would be better, but in football, look, 4 or 5 years ago, I remember we were losing against Real Madrid. They scored 2 goals in the 90th, 93rd minute. So in football, 3 or 4 or 5, we were losing, years ago, we were losing 3-0 to Villa, and then in 10 minutes we scored 3 goals. Of course, it's better to score as quickly as possible. But in football, many things can happen. So we need to not lose our heads, stay within the game, and try to create, as I said, this atmosphere whereby everybody believes that it's possible.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
That is the Manchester City captain, Bernardo Silva. Extreme honesty from him. I think we all agree with the fact that he admitted he didn't mean his goal against West Ham on Saturday. Shaun Goater, former City striker, watching that alongside me. I think both Pep and Bernardo speaking with this belief, and I think many would agree, even the journalists mentioning it there as well in their questions, that actually, although it's 3-0 to Real Madrid at half-time, City created so many chances in that first half that gives them the belief they can come back and almost do the same to Real Madrid, that it wasn't a battering by Real Madrid by any sense, yes, in scoreline, but actually City competed with Real Madrid, even being the better side, and they know they can do that again.
Absolutely, and Bernardo spoke about him watching the game himself. The team would have probably went through 2 or 3 clips to actually show, yes, the scoreline was 3-0, but actually this is what it looked like in the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes. These are the chances that we had. This is what the game looked like in terms of possession and having to go at them. So I like a lot of what he said. You know, it was about the belief. The players believing that they can. Pep speaking about believing that you can, creating an atmosphere. I think City fans are going to have to bring everything, their horns, their voices, you know, to play their part, because as players, you feel that. You feel that energy. And I think he's basically just saying, yeah, we're going to create it. The club are going, I'm sure, going to do everything in terms of having flags and everything. The fans will play their part, and the players will feel that energy. The players will feel that energy.
Yeah. Only one area where you and Bernardo disagreed, but it's an interesting point, was that of luck.
Yes.
And where luck comes into it. Bernardo didn't want to play on that part, and he is right that the players have to be in the right situations at the right time.
Absolutely.
But if you flip that back to last week, the luck seemed to fall more on Real Madrid's side than it did on City's side. Can it flip round this time?
Yeah, and I still believe in it, because luck can be also a thing that Madrid, we could be 3 goals, 4 goals up, and Madrid are starting to pressure us. And then you go, there's a 50-50 block, and it goes off for a throw-in. And those throw-ins or those free kicks can go their way that can keep that momentum. So when you say luck, it's just little things like that to go, it's our throw. We can actually we can kill a bit of time. We could take a composed throw in. We can regroup. So it's moments like that that really fine free kicks that can go for you as opposed to against you. So I do believe you do need that bit of luck where the referee at a time could make calls that it could be either way, but actually it's a bit of luck, because a referee could say, no, Real Madrid. And where you get the luck is them saying it's your ball, your free kick, or your throw in, and you go, all right, settle down, and take the steam out of it. So that's where a bit of luck comes in. But he's absolutely right. Players have to make the right runs, you know, far post, getting in, players getting in. I think the belief of all the players outside of Ireland has to have a belief that they're going to play a part in scoring goals and assisting goals as well.
Clément Turpin is the referee tomorrow, the experienced French official, so a big man for a big occasion. You mentioned Erling Haaland. That came up, actually, and I've seen it in the media this week a little bit of, I think he's played 12 games in 2026. He's only scored in 3 of them, 9 games without a goal, currently 4 without a goal. But he is so key to what Manchester City can do. Pep Guardiola said he knew his team already and perhaps what he would do, apart from one doubt. He said that doubt isn't likely to be Erling Haaland, I don't think. If you need goals on a night like that, Erling's your man.
Erling's your man, and I have no doubt he will show up on the night. He will be, if he's selected, he will show up on the night, because he's a goal threat. Everyone around the world knows what he's capable of, and I think he will, again, he'll be looking forward to this game to be like, I need to be stepping up in this game. And a player's never more hungrier than when they've gone a few games without scoring. So he'll be at that point where he's like, okay, I need a goal or two to assure that we can get to the next phase.
1 goal tomorrow night takes Erling Haaland 4th on City's all-time goal-scoring list, above the great Colin Bell. There probably aren't many finer games to go and beat Colin Bell's record with that against Real Madrid tomorrow night. Early goal, actually, is one of the key questions that was asked as well, whether it's needed, whether it's not. City have a 90-minute game to try and get that goal. Let's hear what Bernardo Silva had to say.
The earlier the better. I would also say that no matter what, it can still happen, because I don't know who was it that spoke about the Aston Villa game, and we know that in football, and especially our team at home, we are capable of creating a lot of chances in a period of 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. Obviously, if we score earlier, it would be better. Knowing that, we also need to defend well, because we cannot concede a goal. Otherwise, if we concede, the tie is over. But we are going to obviously take some risks and try to go for it.
Early goal or not then, Shaun?
Well, exactly. Early goal is definitely will be favourable for us. If we were able to score an early goal, yes, it'd be better. But I feel more important is about scoring within the first half. So that goal could come in the 40th minute, come in the 43rd minute. I think it'll be really good to go in with one goal, winning 1-0.
Remontada is the Spanish word for comeback. Manchester City might need their own tomorrow night. Came up a few times, both the manager... I think the manager highlighted it as his ultimate comeback for Manchester City. Bernardo touched on it too, that Aston Villa game to win the title a few years ago. 5 members of the squad are still there and still present. Bernardo is one of them. Stones, Rodri, Foden all played in that game. Nathan Ake started on the bench. So City have that experience within them. Yes, talking about transition seasons with Bernardo Silva and how there are new players in, but there's still a core of players here who know how to do it, who know how each other work, and who know how to produce one of these epic comebacks that the Etihad seen before.
The interesting thing is as well, when you go through that experience of pulling a game back like that, you have a belief that you know that you can do this. And my experience in playing at Wembley, every time playing after that, I had a belief that if we needed a goal or two late in the game, so they will draw on that. They will draw on, Rodri, Foden, and the like will all draw on that and say, we're capable of this. So their belief is already there. They'll just be sprinkling that to the new players that come in and say, listen, guys, we're capable. Forget 3 goals. We're capable of 5, because it's just hard, not hard, but it's just one of those things that when you believe in it, you just believe in it. And people may think, well, they're delirious. But sometimes that's how strong belief is. People will see it as delirious, but you just know that it's possible.
You were on co-coms that day?
I was on co-coms, and I think that was probably one of the times in my life where I was lost for words. I was just like, I can't believe it. What is happening here? And as the man was trying to compose himself, I was lost for words. And I was just like, this team amazes me. And with that, having experienced it as a fan as well, the players will have that. They'll have that belief, and certainly those ones will pour it into the new ones to say, this is what. And I would imagine it's even possible that Pep could use a clip like that in a pre-game to say, this is what we're capable of. When the chips are down and people think that you can do it, and show a clip like that to show that you're very capable of scoring a few goals and in such a short space of time. And he may even go on to say that was in a short space. We have 90 minutes plus, so this is what we're capable of.
Shaun mentioned Ali Man on commentary. Ali Man will be back tomorrow night for, hopefully, City's own Remontada alongside Clive Allen on commentary. Make sure you've got the Manchester City app for that one. Pep called that game his favourite comeback, that Villa game that we just spoke about. Shall we hear a little bit from the Manchester City manager, what he had to say earlier?
We know it's not able because the first result in the first leg was not the best one. So it's difficult sometimes, because we create the first 50, 20 minutes 4 or 5 times in byline for Bernardo was alone in the 6-yard box and 2-3 crosses, cutbacks that we didn't arrive, and 3 shoots on target, 3 goals. So that is the Champions League. That's why it's so difficult.
So a lot will be made about the goals in that first leg, but there was also another crucial moment that might have gone in Manchester City's favour. We'll only know after 90 minutes tomorrow night, but that, of course, was the Donnarumma penalty save against Real Madrid. That's the challenge where Donnarumma was deemed to have fouled Vinicius Jr. Whether he got a hand on the ball or not, you decide. Referee and VAR certainly thought otherwise, but then came his redeeming moment, saving the penalty from Vinny Jr. How important could it be, Shaun?
Oh, that's a huge, huge save because, again, you know, this here could have been 4-0. I think it would have been a really huge task for the team. And Bernardo said it, interesting, Bernardo said if they were to go and score, the tie is over. I found that interesting as well because, again, this team is capable of, I think they're capable of, I know it's Real Madrid, I think they're capable of 4 and 5 goals. But it's interesting because I would think that the team will prepare them for everything. And everything, by that I mean, we can go up 1-0. It could be easy, a cruising game. We could also go down and be adverse. And then what are you made of then? So it was interesting. He said that if we went down 1-0, we'd lose the tie. But I think Pep will be also, listen, we're going out there to win this game. We want to win this game 4-0. But it could be a case that we even go down 1-0, playing brilliant, creating chances, and we go down 1-0, and we could still turn it around.
One man who knows Pep Guardiola very well, he knows Real Madrid very well, is the Spanish football journalist Guillem Balaguer, and we caught up with him a little bit earlier.
Well, you can imagine the reaction in Madrid during the game and the days after with that outstanding and unexpected result against Manchester City. Of course, the word miracle was used, but at the same time, everybody agrees that, you know, this is Real Madrid. And numbers don't back that up. Real Madrid don't always win the Champions League. They've been knocked out in recent years by Manchester City, by Ajax, Arsenal, Borussia Dortmund, Juventus, and yet they've created a myth which is very, very powerful. And that will help them. The impression that one Real Madrid have got everything against them, they can come back and create a magic moment. And it was. The first 45 minutes were absolutely incredible. Valverde, who had never scored a hat-trick, scores a hat-trick, and so on and so forth. Mbappe and Bellingham are back, which means more venom for Real Madrid. But as Bernardo Silva told me after the game, every time they play Real Madrid, they play the same way. So I don't think their approach is going to be different, which is defend deep, deeper than usual, of course, against all the sides, and try to look for the weaknesses of Manchester City and use the form of Vini, who's doing really well, Valverde, who scored 5 goals in 8 days. All of a sudden he's a goal-scoring midfielder. And, as I said, the opportunity of use Mbappe and Bellingham in whatever way Arbeloa won. But even though the result and obviously qualifying to the next round would change the outlook of Real Madrid of this season, all of a sudden the impression is, even though they lost against Getafe 2 weeks ago, the impression is that they can win everything. That is also very typical of the mentality of Real Madrid. They go from disaster to total happiness, and they are in happy mood at the moment. But they have their own weaknesses, and I don't think I've seen many games in which I completely agree with the analysis from both sides. Arbeloa, of course, was happy that the team defended well, and everything they prepared, including those long balls from Courtois to Valverde, one of which became a goal, worked, and then of course that everybody was committed defensively. But what Pep Guardiola was true as well, which is that they created enough. They were in the box often enough, with the ball under control, just required a better pass and a finish. And Erling Haaland touching the ball more than 10 times. So imagine this, a Manchester City that will dominate, that will have the ball in Real Madrid's last third, and instead of what happened at the Santiago Bernabeu, where the ball didn't go in, where the cross wasn't right, how about if it goes right? How about if they score early? I don't think this is a given that Real Madrid will go through. Obviously, you will expect Real Madrid to score, and if that's the case, that will be very hard. But there will be moments during the game in which both Real Madrid and Manchester City will feel, on one case, Real Madrid, that the game will go ahead from them, and then the other, Manchester City, that they close to turn it around. It will be that kind of match.
Thank you to Guillem Balaguer for that preview. The Real Madrid Twitter account has put out its travelling squad to come to Manchester. We will likely hear from the Madrid camp and their press conference in tomorrow's Match Day Live, so make sure you join Kel and the team for that one. But within that squad that we've seen, both Jude Bellingham and Kylian Mbappe have travelled, didn't play last week, of course, are in the squad most likely to play. Shaun, what are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts are it's Real Madrid. So, you know, they're a team that have quality. They have quality players returning. I don't think anything changes. I think Bernardo was the one that sort of touched on it, is that you've got to focus on us, got to focus on City and our plan of moving forward and how the strategy that Pep has. They're good players. The players that have played or filled the role in the time are quality players as well. So, they come in. It's even better. I think these players will be the same. These players will be like, well, we do want to beat you with all your players and all your stars, so that there's no, well, this player wasn't there and this is why you got across us. No, it's better that everyone's there. So when it's all done and dusted, you go, well, yeah, we were beaten by the better team.
What's their approach tomorrow? Do you think they've got a scoreline? A, is it big enough? Mm-hmm. And B, if they've got Bellingham and Mbappe, two very influential players, two of their star players available, but also just coming back from injury, do they risk them because they know the quality Manchester City have and the quality they can bring in? Or do they maybe see what City do and leave them out, bring them on later? If you were Arbeloa, what do you do tomorrow?
I think that's very interesting because 90% of teams I've seen in this situation would typically be a little reserved. We don't have to go and do anything. Let's be a little reactive. Let's be reactive to see what the opposition do. If I'm their coach, I'm going for another goal because I want to put the pressure on. But again, 90% of the teams I've seen tend to be a little bit more reactive, and this is why it's for City. It's important to sort of be on the front foot, go and get that first goal. At some point, they will react to it. They will react, and because they're quality, they'll create themselves chances. But yeah, how he is as a manager, he's thinking 3 goals up. Probably don't have to maybe start into the game slowly and work their way into it. Who knows?
I think what's really interesting is both sides. Manchester City have a big game on Sunday, the League Cup final with Arsenal to come. Real Madrid have the Madrid derby to come. Huge game with Atletico, and they're 4 points behind Barcelona at the moment in La Liga as well. So it'll be interesting to see how far ahead managers plan. Talking of planning, final point, and we heard Bernardo talk about it, we heard Pep Guardiola talk about it as well. Players today for Manchester City being given a day off, rest, reset the mind. It's been a tough week, the West Ham draw, the Real Madrid game before that as well. Is that important that they just have that little extra downtime? I know he says they'll call them in earlier tomorrow. It'll be light work before the big game.
Yeah.
So you expect almost like a clean slate for Manchester City?
It's a brilliant call because, there's a lot of things, there's a lot of stuff around loading, and at this stage of the season, players are fit. Players really don't need to be having, they're not actual training sessions for the sake of having training sessions. It's more important that they're mentally rested. And if they're mentally rested, they feel fresher. So by the players being able to stay at home, be with the families, rest, come in, the session on the match day -1, the day will actually be very light. It'll be very light where they're just ticking over. Pep's already knows the team. They would know the plan and the strategy. So it'd just be a really light session, and it'll be really going for it.
Confident?
I'm very confident. Always got to be confident. With this squad, this manager, always confident.
Yeah, if it's not this lot, who else could do it, hey, perhaps? Sean, thank you very much. Great to have you with us today, as well as we've listened to Pep Guardiola and Bernardo Silva. Don't forget, Match Day live tomorrow. You can join Kel Spellman, Paul Dickov, Izzy Christiansen and Manchester City women's midfielder Sam Coffey for all the build-up to the game, plus then commentary from Ali Mann and Clive Allen. Manchester City need a special night against Real Madrid. They need 4 goals at least to go through to the quarter-finals. But they've done that before, right?
We are expecting this to be one of those evenings when we look back in maybe 20 years' time and say, I was there, walking out, onto De Bruyne on the edge of the area, into the gap for Bernardo Silva, 1-0! Grealish towards the edge of the penalty area. Grealish into the gap. Real chance for Gundogan. And it might break for Bernardo Silva! City 2! Real Madrid 0! Bernardo Silva is worth his weight in gold! Oh, it's an own goal, I think. Or is it? It doesn't matter. It's 3-0 to City. On he goes to Foden, on towards Alvarez. We're all going to Istanbul on June the 10th. It's a dream night for City. City 4, Real Madrid 0. It's City versus Inter for the Champions League.
It's a beautiful night for us. We knew it was going to be tough, but to beat this Madrid team 4-0 at home, it was a wonderful feeling to be in the final again, and hopefully this time we can try and win it.